subscribers, Flathead Terry here. Thanks for joining me today. Working on the 1942 Harley Davidson that I restored a few years ago. Took it on a long road trip, 504 miles to be exact. Turned out I had some issues with the battery. Decided to drain some of the acid down the rear fender. So, in this episode, I need to get that corrected. Okay, let me show you some of the corrosion. First of all, this is where the battery goes inside here. I removed that. The battery drained right down the back fender here, rear fender through here, of course. Got some of the bolts, some of the hardware, some of the brackets, got onto my muffler. So, what I need to do is remove the muffler, saddlebags, and this fender so I can get this thing repainted. Okay, you're probably asking, how did this happen? Well, a couple of factors here. One of them is, first of all, the battery is stored at an angle into the frame here, into the battery box. So let me show you. Here's the battery. So naturally, it's stored at this angle, approximately. So the other issue here too, this has caps on it for venting. Well, the holes are pretty big, and I need to fix that. Put smaller holes in it so it doesn't vent so much. So with the battery at an angle and those vent holes, as it charges, it's spewing up some of the gas. Then I hit a couple of bumps because there's no rear suspension on this old World War II Harley Davidson. So that's another factor where this battery just bounces around. Any of that acid can pop right out of these holes, drain out the back, and go down here. And then also, I'm also going 55 miles an hour. All that wind turbulence kind of pushes it and blows it all over the place, as evidenced over here on the muffler. So, a couple of things I gotta work on and get this corrected. Okay, let's get the straps off for the saddlebags here. Okay, what I find interesting about these saddlebags too, they're just 4 notches in here. They slide up and out. So here you go. Kind of see these little tabs fit inside here. They pop right off. I'll do this to the other side. Okay, next what I need to do is disconnect the wiring harness that goes to the taillight. That feeds up underneath here, comes out a hole right here, up and around, and then back up into the harness over here. So I will disconnect that. Okay, I disconnected the black wire from the taillight, but that red wire there connects to this brake switch down here. So I need to remove this nut and bolt, pull this out so I can get a screwdriver down into here. Sure I don't lose the washer. All right, let's get that over here. Disconnect the spring. Now I have access to it. There it is. There we go. Put the screw back in. Carefully, if I can. Yeah, you can take a note here too if you can see this, but I always add some of the shrink tubing to the wire itself to just give it some extra stability and cover up any of the exposed wires on that end of it. So, okay, so that disconnects it here. Now the rear taillight is disconnected. Okay, next I need to remove these 2 nuts in here and bolts, and there's 2 more hidden down here as well. Okay, I removed the nut and bolt from down under here, and what happens is it releases this battery hold down here. So I'll take that out. Okay, here's the other one. Okay, now that I have both of the battery hold down brackets, I can take off these two nuts here next. I got them loose. I'm also taking note of the order. Get a big washer, lock washer, and then the nut, so I don't forget. Now there's nuts underneath here that are holding this bracket onto the fender. So I need to remove, next I have to remove the crash bar. Okay, I already loosened this up. That's the crash bar bolt, nut. Okay, that's done. Okay, back to this side. You can see this is under tension, but that's okay. It's the original one. Get that out of there. There we go. Okay, now with the rear crash bar loose, I'm able to access these nuts here, and I'll be able to loosen them up. Okay, I released the other bolt on this side. It'll be a lot easier to pull this off now. Get that crash bar out of the way. Okay, now I got access to these, a little bit easier to get to now. Yeah, what I wanted to show you that I couldn't get a wrench on these when they're inside the fender underneath. So that's why it's always kind of a challenge. There is a notch in here to help hold them in place. Let me get in here a bit closer. Yeah, little notches in here that fit inside here to help hold that bolt in place. So, kind of a challenge, but it's all good. Okay, now I can get these out carefully. Kind of wedged in there. Okay, there's another set of bolts way down here. You can barely see them, but they're down inside the battery box there. So they're all corroded. So those are next. Okay, half an hour later, finally got them out. They were so corroded and they're buried way inside there. It was very difficult to get them off, but I got them out. So I will have to clean these and get them deburred and make sure that they operate properly. Okay, next I need to remove that screw way inside there, and thankfully my dad gave me this handy dandy screwdriver to fit in there. Let's see if I can squeeze in here and get it in there. Let's see, I'll get it to focus, and there we go. No, that's pretty hard to do. There we go. So okay, I was able to remove that bolt. Got their little oval head on there. So next we got to take that bolt off so we can get that portion of the fender off, and then also we need to drop this rear stand down too, because that's connected as well to the rear fender. So let's get that done. Being an old-time mechanic, I sure like using some of these old tools. This is a tool from my grandfather. It says right in here, you can barely see it in the reflection, M-I-K-E, Mike. So still in the family, still using it years and years later. I think his name was Flathead Mike, actually. Okay, I forgot about this guy right here. This is a little stud here that's on the chain guard that mounts to a bracket that mounts to the fender. All right, so I got some work to do. Let me loosen that up. There we go. You can see all the corrosion there. Not cool, but we'll fix her up. Okay, next we need to take this muffler off. I've already removed this bolt already back here. And then there's also one hidden down in here. I've already loosened it up. Get that off of there. Pretty badly corroded, as suspected. There's another bolt here, but we'll take that off. This should slide off. And there we go. We can really look at the damage now. Yeah, that's going to need some work. So, off it goes. All right. Now with the fender out of the way and muffler, you can see the damage there. I'll remove this bolt, the adjustment bolt, to get that out of there. Go from there. Okay, there's two bolts that hold this plate in. I can get those out. I already got them loosened up. And I got that one out. The next thing that I gotta do is there's little nuts right underneath here. Gotta fish those out carefully, don't lose them. Let me grab them before they go too far away. Put those over here. Okay, we're good. Now, get that little plate off of there, I hope, somehow, magically. There we go. Alright, so got the plate off. Now we go on to getting that guy off. This is the adjuster for the transmission that slides back and forth to adjust the primary chain tension. Let me move this back a little bit here. All right. Get out of there, finally. All right, there we go. Boy, that's nice and corroded. We'll take care of that. Okay, now that I have the fender off and the muffler so I can get that repaired and repainted, take a look here. Just want to show you the original speedometer. I bought the bike with 4,136. I now have 5442 on it, which translates to about just over 1,300 miles. So I've been on a few big road trips with it. One trip was over 500 miles. So I don't hide them, I ride them. Okay, while I have it apart too, you're probably wondering why all of the oil film throughout the bike. Well, a couple of reasons why. First of all, we'll go up here to the exhaust valve tappet. This has a little bit of oil down here. These are original tappets. Well, there's got some wear on them, but they're original and they still work. They're within spec, but they do leak a little bit. So as you travel down the road, all of that wants to spit and spray all over as you go along. So that's one cause. Another one is way down here. We're going to move this out of the way. Way down here, there's a tube, a little tube right here. Comes up over here, through here, comes here, and let's see if I can bend the camera down so you can see it. Oh, there we go. Right through here, all the way over. That's the rear chain oiler. That comes off the scavenger pump, which is way down here. You can see that tube right down here. So that's another cause or source of oil. To keep that side all lubricated very nicely, but it keeps the chain lubricated as its primary function. Hey, thanks for helping out today. I really appreciate you holding some of those wrenches for me. This concludes part one of what I'm calling episode Erosion Explosion. Yeah, real creative, I know. But stay tuned for part two. Subscribe if you haven't already so you can follow along as I rebuild this, get it back together, and ready to go back on the road for this summer. Thanks.